So recently I've been getting some questions. A lot of guys have been wanting to know the truth of the matter as far as why I ultimately decided to part ways with a very special guitar from my collection. You guys had probably seen the unboxing I had done a while back. A very special, unique build from Kiesel Guitars. This was a Kiesel Osiris with a master grade Cerakote top. Definitely a special off-menu wood, hand-picked by Jeff himself. Was a really amazing guitar. There was so many awesome things about it, and I went through the whole spec, so if you want to get more information on that, be sure to check that video out. But a lot of you guys have been asking, ultimately, why did I decide to let this guitar go? Now, firstly, let me start by saying the guitar was nothing short of amazing. Beautiful exotic woods, received just as I had ordered it, and there were a couple, I would say, personal preferences that ultimately led me to my decision. Now, one of the biggest regrets I had on this guitar was the fact that I chose to go with a 6-string multiscale. Now, that could be a topic by itself alone. 6-string multiscales, obviously we just decide that we want to tune a little bit lower, we want to run some heavier strings, you've got that longer scale, get some more tension, that's obviously good. One thing though that I didn't realize until after the fact, if you go and look at the specifications as far as your 6-string standard scale versus your 6-string multi-scale, if you go on the website, if you look down where it shows the actual width of the nut, one thing that I did struggle with on the multi-scale was the fact that it is a wider neck. If you go and look at the standard scale, you have a 43 millimeter nut. If you have a multi-scale, it's going to be a 43.5 millimeter nut. So just depending on, your hands, your style of playing, what you're used to as far as comfort, this maybe could be good or bad. For me, it was just it was a little too wide, a little bit too wide. I just kind of struggled with it. It just wasn't something I could get used to. And just so there's no confusion, I am a fan of multi-scale guitars. I do have other multi-scales, and I know sometimes you have good multi-scales and bad multi-scales. I don't think there's anything wrong with the scale length, the 25.5 to 26.5 that Kiesel offers. I think that's a really good middle ground, and I don't have any issues with that actual scale length. Where I struggled, like I said, I just felt like the actual width of the neck was a bit less comfortable. So again, nothing wrong, there's no problems. This was just like my individual taste. Okay, so the next problem I had with this guitar, and I don't really know if it's even fair to describe it as a problem. It was very, very heavy, in my opinion, for a headless guitar. At the time, I was coming from my last Aquaburst Osiris, which this one was a 6-string multi-scale, same configuration. This one had an alder body with a flame maple top, and it was also chambered. This one came in like around 5.7 pounds. So just super, super light. In my mind, I was just thinking, well, as long as I ordered a chambered headless bolt-on guitar, it's probably still gonna be pretty light. I definitely underestimated the weight from exotic woods. This one I went with a black limba body, a Cerakote top, ebony board, walnut bloodwood neck, which I know now is discontinued. And even though it was a chambered headless bolt-on, it was still pretty heavy. This guitar came in right around 7 pounds. Now I know you may hear that and be like, dude, why are you complaining? 7 pounds, my Les Paul's 9 pounds. It's all relative to what you're used to playing. So the other thing that I'll mention is with weight to guitar, sometimes when you have a full-size guitar, right, like with a regular shaped body, a regular headstock, the weight is distributed over like a larger surface, if that kind of makes sense. With the very small, compact, headless guitar like that, when you go to pick it up, all that concentrated weight in the body, it actually feels a lot heavier than it really is. Now, before you guys throw a fit in the comment section, I get it. It's a headless guitar. It's not the heaviest thing in the world, but within the typical average weight of headless guitars, this one was literally like over a pound heavier than my last one. So that is a pretty significant percentage increase from the previous Osiris. When I walk up to my guitar rack and I've got like silver guitars, I'm picking up guitars with headstocks, right? And then I go to grab that one Cerakote headless, and my headless guitar is now like heavier than most of my headstock guitars. You know what I mean? It feels like an imbalance. So that was one contributing factor that ultimately led me to decide to sell this particular instrument. Something else worth mentioning, this one did have the medium jumbos. In hindsight, I really feel like I probably should have ordered the jumbos, just being that a lot of the other guitars that I've got already have jumbo frets. I do think this was a bit of an oversight on my part. I was so focused on, the appearance, with the top woods and all that kind of stuff. I just didn't really even consider to think about different fret size. So that's 100% on me. Last but not least, lithium pickups. I know these are often less popular. I know they get some hate as far as people writing reviews, posting comments, things like that. I don't think they're the worst pickup in the world. They just have a lot of treble. They have a very bright sound that can be a little bit harsh. And because this is a multi-scale guitar, I mean, unless you're going to order replacement factory pickups from Kiesel, it's kind of a pain to source other pickups for multi-scale configurations. So I really think that, you know, if I had ordered this one with a standard scale, I probably could have lived with it. If it was just that one thing, just being a little bit on the heavier side, I maybe could have lived with it. But for me, just the width of the nut, just being a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit too wide with the multi-scale, the heaviness of the body, and just the pickups, and just the cost and the headache that would go into trying to swap them out. I just don't think it was worth it for me. So sad to let that one go. So I ended up trading that guitar. I worked out a deal. I ended up getting this Neural DSP Quad Cortex plus some cash on my end as a trade deal for this Osiris. So everything worked out. It's all good. It's just the life of being a buy, sell, trade guitar gear enthusiast. So that's basically it, guys. Again, amazing guitar. You know, I've always been pretty pleased with all of my Kiesels. I did post another video you guys might want to check out if you guys find this information relevant or useful, talking about some of the biggest mistakes when people spec out their Kiesel guitars. One of the things I did talk about that, which I learned from this experience, was just be careful about picking very heavy wood combinations, because again, sometimes it might just deviate from your mindset or purpose behind getting that particular guitar. So not the biggest fan of heavy headless, so is what it is, man. Life goes on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a comment section down below. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.